Hello there and welcome to my second Budget With Me video. As before, I've tried to include all the appropriate timestamps below so you can jump around if you feel that certain elements are not relevant or helpful to you. Just a short note to say that I recorded the second half of this video, that's the actual budgeting part in YNAB, last night after I got paid. I was very tired and I wanted to get the video recorded before I did too much spending so that I could show you the allocation of all of that money. I have tidied it up a little bit today, but it is broadly accurate, but I apologise if it's a little bit unhinged. It's been a long month. So for those of you new here, I'm going to do a very quick recap about who I am and what my goals are. So hello, my name is Jenny. I'm a pretty normal, pretty average, nearly 43-year-old. I rent a flat in the northwest of the UK. I live with my elderly and ailing dog, but more about her in a minute. Work full time. I currently have just over £3,000 in consumer debt, that's cards and loans. I'm using a snowball method to clear it, and as ever, this is a financially non-judgmental space. My goals are to clear my debt for good, to save money, to not make any financially harmful decisions, and to heal my relationship with money, and the big one, eventually, to buy my own place. So I'm going to do a very quick recap of the tools that I'm using on this journey. I won't be going into as much detail as I did in my last video. For banking and saving, I'm using Monzo. That's a digital bank here in the UK. It has an enormous array of tools that you can use to manage and analyse your spending, and I make use of all of those. I also use it to keep an eye on my credit score. Highly recommend Monzo. If anyone's ever interested in me doing a video about how I use their tools, I'll be very happy to do that. Referral link below. To budget, I use a tool called YNAB, that stands for You Need a Budget. YNAB gives everyone a 34-day free trial to fully test drive it through a whole pay cycle. It then costs between, I think, £7 and £12 per month, depending on whether or not you pay annually. It has been life-changing for me in terms of money, and that price for me is more than worth it. But of course that won't be for everyone. But if you'd like to try it out, there's a referral link below. Undebt is a website with a completely free debt snowball calculator that I very highly recommend. As always, I'm very interested in any suggestions on books to read, particularly about the psychology of money and spending. And for accountability, I share my journey on Threads, Blue Sky and Twitter, and I pretty much duplicate content across those platforms. So, I'm now going to do a rundown of what went well, not so well, and what the significant challenges were in the month of May. This was a no-spend month for me, or in reality, a month of some mindful, pre-planned spending and no unplanned spending. If you've been following me on any of my social media channels over the past month, I've posted every single day. So first of all, I'm going to talk about what went well in the past month. So 99.5% I stuck to the rules despite an incredibly challenging month. Except I fell down about kind of 2 days or so before the end of the month when I planned badly and forgot to take a packed lunch with me into a day that I'm not normally in the office, and I had to buy a sandwich and a drink, so that was a little bit devastating. But I didn't give up at that point. I carried on, and I didn't, as they say, let the slip become a slide. Posting daily on social media was really helpful for accountability, and people were really supportive, which was lovely. I think it's fair to say I rolled with the punches. That's a YNAB term, and it's about adjusting when something unexpected comes along, guilt-free, kind of just shifting your money around, doing what you need to do to roll with the punches when something happens, and I think that I managed that pretty well. I managed to get a 0% interest balance transfer credit card. I'm waiting for it to arrive, at which point I will completely move my Capital One balance over to that card. I don't spend on that card anymore, I haven't for a while, but the interest rate is about 39%. So this is going to be really fantastic, and it's a really good bit of news for me because it means that I'll just have to pay quite a bit less interest over the next few months. I've had very modest improvements to my credit rating. I'm going to celebrate those wins no matter how tiny they are. A good news is I managed to get some overtime work in recent weeks, and I will get the money for that at the end of June, which I hope will kind of offset some of the additional debt I've had to incur this month as well. And finally, brilliant news, one of my debts was cancelled. I got notification of this today, so it isn't reflected in the second half of this video, but it's actually absolutely brilliant news, because I've been challenging the debt for over 6 months, and I finally got confirmation today that they agreed it should be cancelled and my account be closed. It's a really long and boring story and I won't go into it, but it's excellent news. I'm really pleased about that. In terms of what didn't go so well, it was hard this month. It was difficult. I did not stick to the meal plan at all. I did really well for about a week and a bit, and then I just completely fell off the wagon and I wasn't properly doing the meal plan. I need to really sit down and think about that, and think about why that didn't work and what might work better for me. I did not get my grocery costs down particularly, but I'll talk about that in a second as well. This was disproportionately impacted me. I had a favourite pair of earrings and I lost one of them. I'm actually waiting for a diagnosis or an assessment for dyspraxia. I'm very clumsy, I'm very forgetful. This kind of thing happens to me all the time. I don't really beat myself up about it anymore, but it was my possibly favourite pair of earrings and I lost one of them. So I was really sad about that and didn't immediately go out and buy a new pair. I waited, so I was quite proud of myself for that. I left my bike service too long. I pushed it and I pushed it. I left it far longer than I should have done to take it in for a service and a clean, and now it needs both a service, a clean and a little bit of a repair as well, so I feel a little bit silly about that, but it's fine. And yeah, deprivation mindset like really kicked in for me towards the end of the month. I was if you'd seen me on social media, I felt like I was losing it a little bit towards the end of the month, but I stuck to it. I tried when I felt that way to say to myself, what is my quote unmet need here? Like, what is it that would actually make me feel better that doesn't involve me buying something on the internet or ordering a takeaway? And I don't particularly think I always came up with something, but at least I'm asking the question, and for me that's progress. We're now going to move on to the really ugly stuff. The biggest unexpected cost last month was vet fees. I ended up having to take my dog in for her heart murmur went up a grade, and it went up to the point where they recommended a scan and, you know, possibly treatment, etc. So just one of the invoices that I received here, the total cost was a bit more than the total here. It included the cardiology scan, a short supply of medication, and also there were additional meds that were given in advance of the scan to kind of keep her calm. It's like, I suppose it's like anxiety medication, but in the hope that they wouldn't have to sedate her. So this accounts for the biggest amount of overspending this month. I put all the costs associated with the procedure and the first round of medication onto my credit card. I've already submitted the insurance claim. It's due to come back to me in about 3 or 4 days. There's about £600 that I'm going to get back. There was an excess or deductible, as you may call it, of £190, and that cleaned out my meagre sinking funds entirely, completely. Everything's at zero, but I tried really hard to see the positive here, which is that just a month or two ago I wouldn't have had any sinking funds at all, but I actually managed to cover about half the cost of that excess with cash that I already had set aside for other things, but nevertheless had already set aside. I have gone deeper into debt this month and my sinking funds are back to zero, but I'm actually fine with that. The good news is that my dog's doing well on her medication. There she is, and hopefully she'll be around for a good while yet. But on that last point about not giving myself a hard time for where I ended up at the end of last month, I wanted to mention a really great quote that was said by one of my favourite YouTubers recently. It was about something very low stakes in the video, but they had said that failure is a great way to learn. And I love this quote. It's something that I want to bear in mind, because if I slip up or if something happens, I want to not let that slip become a slide. And I also want to learn something that will help me do better in the future. And speaking of that, I'm now going to talk about just some of the lessons that I learned. So May was a very long month. I mean, of all the months for me to pick to start to do a NoSpend, to kind of kickstart this journey, it was a long month. With Monzo, one of the features is that you can access your wages the working day before they're due to hit your account at around tea time the day before. And the way that this day fell at the end of April, as well as it just being a long month, it meant that I did a no-spend month for a total of 34 days. And along with everything else that popped up, it was challenging. And I learned a few things. So, firstly, it was really quite absurd of me to think that I could spend less than £100 for a month of grocery spending. I am not there yet. My meal planning didn't quite work out, and I'm not, as I said, there yet in terms of reducing my grocery bills. But while I try and figure that out and work on it, it's okay for me to set aside what is a realistic budget of £300 a month for groceries. One good thing was that I did maintain a note on my phone this month of things that I wanted to buy, often on impulse, but didn't need. And infuriatingly, this went exactly how all the advice said it would. When payday rolled around, I did not want or care about 99% of the things on that list anymore. So that's something that I'm going to try and take forward. Deprivation mindset hit me a lot, and I didn't, as I've said, always do a good job of figuring out what I actually wanted. I assume that I will get better at this with time and with practice, but I think what I want to start doing is maybe trying to do this every other month, and in June, that's this month that I'm now in the payday cycle of, I want to try and experiment with a weekly pocket money allowance if it's in the budget. This means that I won't just burn through any of my fun money right at the beginning of the month, and then worst case scenario, having spent that money, still feeling deprived at the end of the month. And finally, a quick note to say, it's okay for me to clear my debt a little more slowly than I had planned, if necessary. And what do I mean by that? Well, in relation to that last point, I just wanted to share a recent Instagram post from Lexa, aka the Avocado Toast Budget on YouTube and elsewhere. This really had an impact on me, this post. When I planned clearing my debt, I aimed for absolute maximum payoff in the shortest possible time. And I think one thing that the month of May has taught me is that I will feel deprived if I have very little money that I feel I can freely spend. And also that emergencies will pop up. I still want to clear my debt quickly, but I think this post gave me the permission to reframe how I feel about my debt payoff to allow for a slightly longer timeline, perhaps, if it's a sustainable plan and if I can still put money aside for emergencies and to save to move house. So, a really quick snapshot of the numbers for May. Using one of the tools with Monzo is what enabled me to easily sort of pull together these stats. It's a really quick snapshot of the breakdown of the spending for the May payday cycle, and at this point I am not getting too hung up on the figures here. For example, why am I spending twice as much on non-essentials as I am saving? But as I continue on this journey, I do want to start to question some of these things, but for now I'm happy that I'm doing the sensible thing in tracking all of this, seeing how it changes over time, seeing how other things might impact my spending, and just take it one issue at a time. And so, in terms of where I am right now financially, I plan to do this little recap every single month. It's been no days since payday, it's 28 days until next payday. I have absolutely nothing in sinking funds, and that's fine. I have £2,153.08 in my savings account. If you didn't watch my last video, you will know that I'm keeping that money exclusively to save up to move house, because quite a bit of it was a gift to me for that purpose. I have just over £3,000 in debt total to pay. However, as I've already mentioned, I'll be transferring one of the balances that I have to a 0% interest card soon, and I'm also waiting on an insurance payout of £600, which should hit my account within the next few days. Right, I think that's more than enough of all that, so let's dive into YNAB. Okie dokie, here we are in YNAB. Now, I'm actually recording this budget section before I record the part of this video that you will have already seen. So I'm going to assume that I've already taken you through the trials and tribulations of my no-spend May, accounting for the fact that I've got various bits of overspending here and so on and so forth. So I shan't go over all that again, or at all, because I'm going to do it later. Today was payday, more or less. Tomorrow is actually my payday, but the bank that I'm with, Monzo, allows you to receive your pay sort of tea time the working day before your actual payday. So I chose to do that because why would I not? And I've actually already spent a bit of it on this and that, but I've not kind of logged any of that. None of that's imported through from to YNAB yet, other than my actual wage, which I added manually, and which, once it catches up with my bank account and imports that transaction, will kind of match it to the one that I manually put in there. Anyway, I've told it that I've been paid, and the first thing that we're going to do is look at the overspending. Now, you will have already seen my whole hoo-ha about vet bills and so on and so forth. So some of this overspending is on the credit card, and that is the vets and kind of associated costs with the vets, and some of it is credit card interest, which in YNAB is just classed like any other transaction that you would make on your credit card, as it should be, I suppose. Now, I'm not going to be able to fully clear either, well, I'll be able to clear the interest. I won't be able to clear this £901.44 right now. In fact, I'm not even going to try just at the moment. If I were to leave those two bits of overspending entirely, when the month rolls over into June, YNAB will just automatically add that onto my credit card balance, and it will just mean that my debt's a bit higher, basically. But it sort of reminds you up until that point that it's an overspend, but a credit card overspend. Now, I think I may possibly have already mentioned, or I'm yet to mention, but you will already know, if I mentioned whether or not, or mentioned at all, in fact. I'm very tired today. It's been a very long month, as I'm sure you've already heard, that I'm awaiting a BACS payment. That's a direct-to-bank payment of about, I think, £600 and something from my insurance company, and then I'm going to have to cover the rest, basically. However, what we can do is we can cover these bits of overspending here, and here. So we'll cover everything except the big one, and I'm going to auto-assign underfunded to all of those categories. I had to make an extra insurance payment. Essentially, I had to make two payments last month, or this month, I suppose, in the month just gone, because I've took out a new policy with a different company that was far cheaper, but I had to pay them a deposit. So I've essentially had to make two payments. I went over budget on groceries. I went into my overdraft a little bit naughty. And then that was just a random bus journey from the other day. So I shall fund all of those. And now that's all that's left in overspent is this credit card category, which I'm going to merrily ignore. And I'm going to go ahead and budget this amount up here. Now I have a handy... Well, I also tend to keep a little spreadsheet that is just something that I use in advance of every payday in order to kind of plan out in advance what I'm hoping to spend my money on. So I'm going to sort of look to that sheet now, and I'm going to go through, and I'm just going to add in what I've budgeted and see where it gets me. So I'm going to give myself £300 this month for groceries. Any that I don't spend, by the way, will actually be carried over into June. So, but I'm just going to add it here because we're still in May for a couple of days. So I'm going to allow myself a total of 300. And now, whatever I spend on my kind of quote big shop, that's my kind of big grocery delivery that I get. I will log here and assign to this category, and then whatever's left over will go into the popping to the shops fund, and that essentially will be what I've got left to go and buy bits and bobs from the shop as the month progresses. For toiletries and makeup, I need to stock up on shampoo, conditioner, hair dye and deodorant, and I gave myself a total for that of, let me do some maths in my head here, 21, 22, 23, 24, £32. I actually, yeah, I got a good deal on shampoo. I got a month's worth of my usual shampoo for £3. I got my usual conditioner, which is 2 bottles for £8. My hair dye is normally £12 a box, and I went into the shop today and it was on sale for £8, so I got 2, the last 2 in fact. Anyway, that's that, £32. For these necessary bills, oopsie daisy, no, undo there. Council tax, it's a UK thing. I shan't go into more detail than that. Tenant insurance, I don't know why there's minus 80p. Actually, I do know why. It was because I had a facility set up on my bank account whereby it would put the spare change into a savings account. So I basically budgeted for the full amount, but then transfer the spare change into the other one. You don't need to do any of this. Tenant insurance, I will add on 12. Again, I'm rounding up because I'm going to be doing the same thing, putting the spare change into a savings account. Although I cleared it out this month, but you'll already know that because you'll have seen my little introductory part. TV licence, another UK thing, £15. Flipping costs more than many streaming services does that. I did actually listen to a very enjoyable podcast from the BBC this month though, so I suppose I shouldn't complain. Contents insurance is going to be £22. Energy is going to be £130. I overpay my energy, I'm sure I've already mentioned this, because I'm absolutely terrified of not having enough in the winter, and prices are going to come down ever so slightly here in the UK in July, but that will only last for 3 months, and they reckon that come October it's actually going to go up an enormous amount again, so I'm not reducing that, I'm not putting that any lower. United Utilities is water. Mine's a bit high because I'm trying to get them to find a leak, but it goes on. O2, again, that's obscenely high, but for various reasons. I pay them also for my iPad and my Apple Watch as well as just my phone. Rent is £850. It's my last month of it being £850 before it goes up to £925. And broadband is £43. I will go through my subscriptions. So Proton is £10. Again, I'm rounding up all of these in order that I can put the spare change to one side. Patreon is £5. Hosting for my silly little blog is £2. What a bargain. iCloud for my extremely large collection of photographs is £3. Again, I'm rounding all of these up. British Library subscription, my book subscription, £10 a month, bargain. YouTube, absolute fortune, but it is what it is. I love YouTube so much and don't have any other streaming services. YNAB is 10. One day, actually, is it 10 or is it 12? I've written down 10, so I'll leave it at 10 for now. Ink subscription is, what is it, £3? £4, goodness me. Spotify is £6. Actually, let's make that £11.99. So it's 6, there we go. GoPro. I went through this in my last video, but I have unlimited storage. It's the camera that I use for cycling. So Apple Fitness, I've still got a lapsed membership at the moment. I pay £3 a month for my Monzo account, and I'm very happy to. Union is £17. Right, now for the dog. So dog walking cost, I've already paid it, and let's just see how much it was. I think it was. So it's slightly lower this month because the dog walker's going on holiday. So it's 170. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, is it imported things? It now knows that it's import. Oh, look at that. It's imported things. So midway through doing my budget, it's obviously decided to import all my transactions. So it already knows how much that one is. So 173. Insurance is going to be 105. Vet care plan for all the flipping good it does us, £23. Food and stuff actually I've already paid for, and it's obviously not quite imported that transaction yet, but what did I pay for food and stuff? £38.14. Now, as you will already know, having watched the first part of this video, there's also going to be medication charges. I'm yet to determine whether I will just absorb that cost monthly, or whether I will kind of claim it on my insurance on an ongoing basis, which I can do, but I don't really want to exhaust if it's kind of £40 a month, I can probably absorb that, and I would rather do that than use up the count down to the £8,000 limit when she might need more scans and things like that. So right, so I'm going slightly more overboard, well, not overboard, but I'm just being a bit more generous to myself this month in terms of like planned fun stuff, I guess. I'm allowing myself to get a few nice things, and then allowing myself a bit of spending money. Again, as I've already discussed in the first part of this video. So it's going to be a little bit different from last month. I think psychologically it's going to be so much better for me to just stagger how I do these no spend months, because I did end up feeling pretty sorry for myself. And this next amount's possibly going to horrify some people, but let me just do the adding up. So £83 for nails. That's for the whole month. That's for 2 appointments, one of which will be more expensive because I'm having a design done because I want to. Waxing, £38. I now get that done every other month instead of every month. So there we go. It's already recognised that £42.25. I am going to the theatre next week. So, and actually the person that I'm going with already bought the tickets, so that transaction was me sending them the money for the theatre ticket. Right, crafty stuff and yarn. I'm allowing myself £12 this month because I have a crochet project that I've been doing for a good few weeks now, and it's on pause because I've run out of a particular yarn that I need in order to continue, and I didn't buy it all the way through May, so I'm going to have to go into town and buy that yarn. It's £12. We'll come back to fun money, or will we? Shall I do it now? So I'll do it now because I don't think that there's a more appropriate category to put all this stuff in. I'll do it now. So essentially I have 2 birthdays this month. One's going to cost me a bit more than the other, but I'm going to assign, so first of all I'm going to assign £80 for the 2 birthdays for the various things that we'll be doing for that. What else is there in terms of fun money? I also have just noticed that I need to I'm getting a haircut. I'm getting a haircut this month, and where's haircut? I think it's a sinking funds category. It is. My hair's quite long at the moment. It's like well past my shoulders, and I'm desperate to have just it's long straight hair. It's got a natural wave, but essentially there are no layers in it. There's no thinning. I just want like 3 or 4 straight inches cut off the bottom of my hair. I've not had a haircut in about 2 years. I'm desperate for one, but because of the length of my hair, the cost is like at least £50 everywhere. But where I work, there happens to be like a sort of subsidised hairdressers that I've been to before, actually, quite a few years ago, and they're perfectly fine, they're good, and it's £7.50 for a haircut. So I'm going in just to finally get some length cut off my hair, so I'm going to allow a bit for that. What else was there in terms of fun money? So as you will already know, I have a favourite pair of earrings, and I lost one of them this month, and I'm devastated. So I'm going to buy myself a replacement pair. I've managed to find a pair that's very similar, and they are £14. So I'm going to add that on as well. What have I not added from my list, I wonder? So the 2 birthdays, I've added that. I've added my yarn, I've added my theatre ticket, I've added my earrings. Right, I've added the haircut. I've got some additional dog costs here. That I think I'm going to have to create a new category. And I'm going to just call it miscellaneous, and I'll add an emoji later on. Or should I do it now? I'll do it now. I mean, what are we here for if not to have fun? And I am on my Mac, so I can let's see, let's have a little. Oh no, oh, wrong one, that's a pirate one, don't want that. We'll do this. So I mean, she's beginning to cost me a fortune, but she's 12. She's got 2 long-term health conditions. It is what it is. She's the love of my life. It's all fine. I had to get some dog shampoo. I'm all out. And believe it or not, I had to buy her a pill organiser. We now both have one because she has medication twice a day, as do I. So we're a bit of a state, the 2 of us. So that's £12 in total that I'm assigning to that. What am I missing here? There's got to be. I can't possibly have £600. Did I put my rent in? I did. I put groceries, toiletries, all my bills. Oh, debt payments, of course. Oh, of course. Right, so this one will be 102. This one will be, where's it gone? £10. This one will be £20. Credit card interest I've already covered. Right, actual card payments is going to be, I think this one is 85. And for this one I want to put in 250 at least. And I think that's it. I think that's everything that I planned to include. Now, a couple of things that you will already know. Why is that in orange? Is it because I've not put enough to clear it? I think it must be. Or is it because my target... yeah, it's because I've overspent. That's fine. It's a conscious overspending. So, I mean, as I've already mentioned, I've got a insurance payment incoming. The whole lot's going to go straight to that credit card. In terms of the Capital One credit card, I'd already disabled new transactions on that a while ago. It's not in use at all. and actually I managed very recently, and I'm just waiting for the card to be delivered so I can do the transfer. I managed to get a 0% for 9 months balance transfer, which is brilliant because it was costing me at least £45 a month in interest. So I'm really pleased about that, and I'm hoping that will come through soon. And you know what? My sinking funds are cleared out. I mean, we've already been through this, completely cleared out. It's fine. Rolling with the punches, you know. This last month was a tight month and a lot happened. This month I'm going to go a bit easier on myself. I'm going to allow myself some nice things. I'm not going to put money into savings this month, and that's fine. One thing I will also add, and again, you will already know this from the first part of this video, but I've done some overtime work with work, and the money for that will come through to me next payday, so approximately a month from now, penultimate working day of June. When that happens, I'm hoping very hard that it will enable me to totally clear out, disable this credit card, the one that I've had to put all the vet costs on, and pay the excess for the insurance of £190. They also, by the way, there was a small amount that they wouldn't cover. I may have already mentioned this. There's a small amount that they wouldn't cover with the insurance, which was the chill pills that she got prescribed before the cardiology scan, which I understood to be a very common thing for them to do because they like them to be still and calm when they're scanning the heart, but they don't necessarily want to give them sedation or anesthesia when they've got a bad heart. The insurance company classed that as behavioural and wouldn't pay it, so whatever. I'm not going to argue with them about that. It's fine. It wasn't that much. It was about 30-40 quid. But yeah, there we go. I mean, do you know what? I've just this evening agreed that the person that I'm going to the theatre with, that we might go for some dinner beforehand, so I might just throw myself a bit of money there. Now, the only other cost this month that I think I'm going to have to end up paying is getting my bike serviced and repaired. I think I'd already mentioned this. You will already know this again, but I pushed it too far and I left it too long to get my service done, and the chain has come off and it's got stuck and it's a big mess, and I need to take it in to get it properly pulled apart and cleaned and put back together again. Normally I would just sort of merrily put that off indefinitely because I actually have a travel pass provided to me by through my employer. I do pay monthly, but it comes out of my wages before I get paid, so I can travel for, in inverted commas, free at no extra cost to me. But I have volunteered to lead a bike ride from where I live into where I work in the middle of June. So I think I'm just going to have to do that, and I may end up needing to put it on my credit card. But it's fine again. We're rolling with the punches, and if it hadn't have been for the vet stuff this month, then I would have just been able to cover that cost. And I will get there. It's fine. I'm hoping that with June being a month of relative indulgence and £100 to sort of spare, in inverted commas, that I will be raring to go in July for another no-spend month. Now, that is my birthday month, July, but I will probably in advance allow for some fun money, and just do that mindfully, but try again and have another month of putting as much as possible into sinking funds and savings and so on. So yeah, the only thing left for me to say, I think, is that those of you who use YNAB often will, and I mentioned this briefly in my last video, but those of you who use YNAB often will note that I have left money up here and ready to assign. I've not given every dollar a job, which is one of the key 4 rules of YNAB. I kind of discussed this, I think, in the last video, but it's like my little comfort blanket, this up here. I don't know what to tell you. I just enjoy seeing money there ready to assign. What I've found in the past is that if I assign that to a fun money category, if I've put my money away for everything else and then I assign it to a fun money category, I sort of mentally see it as a target and I just spend. Whereas when it's here like this, it's kind of in a bit of limbo and it's yet to be given a job, and that for some reason dissuades me from spending it so quickly. I can't explain the psychology of it. I'm sure somebody out there can. So that's that. I'm going to shut up now, and yeah, I just want to say a really big thanks for the few people that have commented and subscribed. It's super appreciated. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. That goes both for personal finance and for YouTube. But I'm really grateful to have you here, and hope to see you again soon.